All right, I'm back. I obviously did not make it to my 100 miles. I was around the 87 mile mark when catastrophic failure to one of the rear bearings. It just exploded. It started out by I heard a little bit of a noise. Didn't know what it was, so I started putting the brakes, and then all of a sudden my wheel passed me. The back of the board kind of dropped onto the ground and scuffed up. This hit the ground, scuffed up the outer side of it, and just annihilated this wheel. So as you can see in here, it melted the bearing on the inside. Trying to get it out, just cracked the rim all the way around in about 4 different places. So I said, hey, you know what? Crap happens. Bearing give out. Shit happens. So I reached out to Wowgo. I bought this. I received it March of 2020. It is now the end of May of 2020. They claim that they have a 6-month warranty on the board. So I reached out to them. It's a little frustrating reaching out to them because of the difference in time zones. I would create an email during the day, send it off. I would get a response at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, I'm not awake at that time, so the next day I would respond to them, and we were going back and forth quite a bit. This happened on a Tuesday. It is now Friday, and really I have no movement. So going back and forth, I'd let Wowgo know, hey, this is what happened. At the beginning, they were very, very nice, calling me friends, stuff like that. Saying that they hope that I wasn't injured and nothing happened. I told them no, I wasn't injured. I just want to get this board back up and running. That I'm doing trying to do a YouTube video of a 100-mile review, and I want to get it back up and running as fast as possible. So they said that they understood and to let them know what parts I needed. That to me says that it's on me to let them know what parts that I need. So I told them, obviously, a new wheel, rear bearings, both the inners and outers. I lost one of the spacers when it came apart. So spacers, the lock nut, it got really hot. The lock nut melted. So I said, hey, just send me, 2 lock nuts. Pretty much the hardware for the rear. I told them that this got scuffed up pretty good. If they're willing to replace it, they're willing to replace it. And then inside this wheel, the other side, so this is the really damaged one. Inside this wheel, this bearing was failing too. And you can see it got pretty hot in there. We got some heat damage in there. And you can see some hairline fractures right there. So I sent them pictures of all this. Every time I replied to their emails, I sent them pictures. Well, last night at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a reply back saying that they have determined that the wheels are still okay. That I need to use a hammer because the race was still in here. I showed them the cracks. The race was still in there. Then I needed to use a hammer and hammer that out, but the wheels are still in good shape. I don't know what picture they're looking at. That wheel is not in good shape. Then on top of that, so they're not, according to their email, they're not sending the wheels. That's all they said, that they have looked at it and they have determined that the wheels are okay. Then it goes on to explain that I have to pay shipping, which, okay, I'm okay with that. I get it. The shipping is going to be $40 even, and they gave me a link that when you click it, it says, send Wowgo extra money. And you have to click a plus symbol to go up the dollar amount. I understand paying shipping. I understand all of that. I don't agree that the wheels are not going to be replaced. But you're not sending me any receipts, any invoice, or telling me what you're going to replace. You just say, send me an arbitrary amount of $40. When is shipping ever an exact amount? I'm almost 40 years old and I've never had shipping an exact amount unless you're doing the if it fits, it ships from USPS. Anything else is there's cents involved in it, right? $12.37 or whatever it's going to be. But they just give me an arbitrary number of $40. It seemed like I'm paying for the parts. So what are you sending me, Wowgo? Just some bearings? Just a washer and a lock nut? And you want me to pay $40 for the cheap bearings? I looked them up. They're right around $15 for an entire set of bearings. That's what you're going to charge me $40 for? Complete trash. Complete trash. So I started doing my own research and looking into bearings and stuff. I'm not a skateboard expert whatsoever. Started doing my own research, and I think I might have found why the bearing failed in the first place. So I've been keeping them clean after every ride. I clean them up. I haven't put any oil in it like the internet was telling me today to do. Didn't do that. But everything that I read was explaining that the spacer on the inside are extremely important because it keeps the inner race and the outer race, you can tighten it all the way down. And with these bearings in the rear, if I tighten them all the way down, it almost locks up the wheel. Didn't think it was a problem. I back it off. I tighten them down, then back it off maybe a 1/16 of a turn. It spun freely. Everything should be good, right? Wrong. So here's the problem. I have this set up so we can see inside of it. Move some lights around. So this is the back bearing, right? And with just the bearing on here, we'll do it on this side. With just the back bearing on here, you can see that the shaft that the inner race rides on, it's not perfect. Wobbles around a lot. Then in here, you can see that right here, I'm thinking that there should be a spacer that connects all the way out to the bearing, so then you can tighten the nut. So the washer, the bearing, the spacer, it all gets tightened down onto the inner race, and then the bearing can still spin freely. That's not what happens. So when you put this all back together, and this bearing is obviously in the wheel, we'll push this down until no more threads are showing. So that's the max that you could ever get it. That's the max tightness. But if you look on the inside of there, they're using bearings that have an internal race, a race that already included, or the spacer that already included in the bearing. And for the front, that works out just fine. With the front, you have a bearing in the back, bearing in the front. These two races with the extended spacer on it. It's like a half spacer, right? It's half the length of a normal spacer. And when you put two of them together, they touch and it works just fine. You can see the front bearing worked just fine. Even sitting on there, the inner race isn't spinning. So the front bearings work just fine. But with this, that spacer isn't touching anything. So then you got all this slop in the rear wheel that's all being loaded up on the front bearing, and there's no spacer to keep the inner race and the outer race spinning separately. So I'm not going to pay Wowgo $40 for bearings. It seems like they're just charging me for the parts and then claiming that it's shipping. I'm not going to do that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm still waiting on one more reply from Wowgo. I'll let everybody know how that goes. Probably in my next video when I decide what I'm going to do with this and what wheels and bearings I'm going to use. Because they are obviously non-usable. Although according to Wowgo, they will work just fine. So once I decide and I get it all back together, it may be a week, it may be a month. I'm not really sure. Might have to order some parts and wait for them to come in, or go to a local shop and support my local business instead of supporting Wowgo. But once I get it all back together, I'll let everybody know what I did and how it turned out with Wowgo. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Tell me why. Please subscribe. Stay tuned. I'll let you all know how it goes.